The Snyder Cut's coming out pretty soon, DJ. What do you think about it?
Okay, so here's my opinion. I went to see Batman vs Superman. Like, I was so pumped for it. I saved up my money. I went alone, and the theater was packed, and I was so disappointed. It was just awful.
About to say, but you're disappointed.
No, yeah, I was definitely disappointed. And then I saw Justice League, and I've been waiting. I've had a Justice League blanket my whole life on my bed. I love the animated series, and Zack Snyder, I know it wasn't his full idea, but it was horrible. So I don't look forward to anything that he has to do. I don't think he's a great director. I think he's very overrated, and it's 4 hours long. That's too long for any movie, let alone yeah, really, let alone a Justice League movie that's not even going to be anything special.
Do you think they're gonna have like intermission during the theater?
I thought it was only releasing on like HBO.
Oh, okay.
Well, how long is the original movie?
Like 2 hours.
Because I can't remember a single memorable thing that happens in it.
Yeah,
because nothing does happen.
it's just a CGI fest, just big men beating each other.
I mean, I saw Batman v Superman, and I remember it was very underwhelming, and I was really excited for Justice League. And then it took like 2 years after that for Justice League to even come out, so I never even watched it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I didn't miss out on much, and I feel like I won't miss out on much.
Yeah, definitely not.
The Snyder Cut either.
Yeah, I saw Justice League in the theaters. I was pumped for that too, and it's like underwhelming. It's not good.
Yeah. There's a lot of unused film though. I mean, they said that only 30 minutes of his like 5 hours of use or whatever. So
yeah,
maybe.
But I mean, Batman. If you look at Batman versus Superman, which is like I don't get why everyone's so pumped for it, is like watch Batman versus Superman and you're gonna get your answers. Like this is what he pictures Batman and Superman to be, and now we're gonna have 4 hours of that. Like it's just Batman vs Superman's not a good movie.
With me,
let's just make that clear.
Especially with Batman vs Superman, I never understood why they revealed Doomsday in the trailer. Like I never understood why they would do that, considering that was one of like the turning points in the movie. It's like why would you spoil it in your own
I don't
trailer?
understand why he was in the movie.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
If the name's for like Batman versus Superman, why do they have to have a villain in there? Like,
because of like all the cliche, they gotta team up at the end.
Yeah,
and
no,
stop
oh,
the
that's
villain.
so stupid.
And Wonder Woman too. Like what? Just shoehorning these people in.
Wonder Woman showed up at the very end for no reason.
Yeah, so I'm not looking forward to it. And the like them releasing all these pictures of the Joker is like, why?
It's fan service in my opinion. I think
they're trying to fix it.
Now you're just adding more characters in. Like nobody liked Jared Leto's take on the Joker before, and now you're doing a completely different take. And he's gonna be like in the movie for what, 5 minutes maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
that was like his only scene in the trailer. That's all you're gonna get.
Yeah, he's not gonna be in it at all. Other than that,
I saw pictures where like he was mocked like as Jesus. Like he had like, the crown of thorns on. I'm like, what are you doing?
And that's another reason I don't like Zack Snyder is that he's so pretentious and he thinks that he's like this God that's like, oh, you don't get this work. Like Superman is actually God and Batman is doing this. Like, get over yourself. It's Superman and Batman. Movie. Seriously.
That's true. I feel like if you're doing like a comic book, you have to like stay true to the original source material. Try not to deviate like too much, but.
Well, comic books movies are like supposed to be fun, you know, and I feel like that's what Marvel sort of does with their movies. They might not be like the best storytelling and stuff, but at least like you can go in, and, you know, you're gonna have like a fun time. Like the actors and stuff, and even like the stupid CGI scenes, you know.
But I agree with that, but I think because like Marvel, they do that well. But I also think like DC has to differentiate itself from Marvel, so they have to kind of have more of like a dark story to kind of like separate the two kind of types of superhero movies.
I also think it doesn't help that most DC movies up to this point have not been very good, whereas Marvel has, I mean, some of them have been bad, but for the most part, people look at them as home runs. And so DC is already playing catch up, and so you have to deliver a great product with every movie, and they just simply haven't.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, DC tried to copy the MCU with DCEU, and they failed miserably. Like, they're never going.
Okay, and here's what I think. You have the Nolan trilogy that came out, and it was so successful,
of course,
with like critics and people, that DC is caught in the middle, where it's like Marvel is so successful doing their thing, where it's light and fun and big CGI stuff, and like the Nolan stuff was the complete opposite of that. It's dark. It's like has more meaning. So I think DC was trying to do a collaboration of both, and it just failed miserably. And I think personally they put Zack Snyder in charge, so that was kind of obvious that it was going to do that. But it's just two different tones that are just not going to work together ever.
Well, I feel like they saw the success of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they were trying to like copy it and trying to do their own thing with like the Justice League and become the next Avengers, and it just they weren't set up for that yet, and they're never going to be able to.
Especially because like Avengers came first, and since like the MCU came first, even if it's better, like you're never going to get to that level of success just because something came before you. You know what I mean? It's like that, in my opinion. Like they were never going to reach that level of fame, I guess, or popularity with people.
And like what DJ said, with trying to combine the lightheartedness and then the dark, even with Infinity War and Endgame, Marvel barely combined it. It was all, for the most part, dark until like the very end of Endgame. But even then, it's still Tony Stark's funeral, and you see everybody crying over his death.
Yo, spoiler! Okay.
I mean,
It's
if
been
you
out
haven't
for
seen
like
it,
Sean
McCoy, spoil it.
Did you remember that though? Freaking Sean McCoy tweeted,
Yeah.
"What they did to my boy Tony?" Or
Yeah.
something.
It's like, dude, what are you doing?
I remember everyone freaking
Like,
out.
he sent the bills. I'm like, dude, you deserve to be cut. on
yeah,
the
and then
spot
the
for
Bills
spoiling.
cut him like 2 weeks later.
That's
Then
what
he
you
won
get with
back-to-back
Sean.
Super Bowls.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
so,
beside
you know
the
what?
point.
Football tangent, you know.
You can catch that on our other episode 1, if you guys want to hear about football.
All right, we don't do Seamus
Yeah.
Bond.
Yeah,
we don't do that.
You're off the show.
Get off.
All right. Well, sticking with Batman, something that I'm really excited for is a new Batman movie coming out. I think it's
Me too.
2022.
Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward to that.
And is so that's gonna be a trilogy, right? Like,
I
have
believe
they announced
so.
that?
Yeah,
I
I think
it's
they
gonna,
want
yes,
to,
yes,
but
it's going to be a trilogy.
Yeah, I'm pumped for that. Pattinson looks fantastic, and it looks like more of a gothic, dark version.
It looks like Seven, like the movie Seven combined with like Batman, and I'm all for it because I love that movie, and I love like the Riddler looks a new fresh take on the Riddler. I love that. Like Colin Farrell as a Penguin, like unrecognizable.
Yeah.
You can't. It just looks awesome to me.
And we definitely need a new Riddler after the last
Exactly.
take was literally Jim Carrey
Hey,
being
don't-
Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Horrible.
He probably wasn't good for that role. I've never seen it, but I have a soft spot for Jim Carrey.
I
You
hate
can't,
Jim
like,
Carrey.
I like Jim Carrey too.
I like
I'm
Ace
a
Ace
fan of
Ventura.
him.
I love Ace
indifferent.
Ventura.
I
I'm
love
different.
Ace Ventura.
I hate
Different
that
Jim
movie.
Carrey.
It's very
He
funny.
butchered the role of Riddler, and so we need a new take on that for sure.
And
That
was
movie
it
was
Arnold
terrible.
Schwarzenegger?
Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, that was in
It
Batman and
so
Robin.
bad.
That's the one where he has bat nipples, right?
Was that with
Yeah.
George Clooney or Val Kilmer?
George Clooney was with Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, and Bane, and Val Kilmer was with Jim Carrey as Riddler and,
then,
Tommy Lee Jones as
Two-Face.
Two-Face.
Yeah.
Both awful movies.
I would
Yeah.
cry if they got Bryan Cranston as Mr. Freeze, bruh.
Dude,
That would be-
that's what we've
that'd
been
be
talking about.
savage.
So for the people listening who don't know, we've all been talking about for years now having Bryan Cranston having like a standalone Mr. Freeze movie. Like that would just be incredible. Like the Joker. And just that's the Mr. Freeze story is like the best story in all of DC. And so to have Bryan Cranston
would
telling
fit the
that,
part so
oh
well.
my god.
His backstory's sad too.
Isn't
it?
it
His
like with his
backstory is
wife?
fantastic.
Yeah, he's trying to save his wife or whatever.
Yes, and then he can't, and like he freezes her and stuff, and he tries to make this antifreeze and stuff, and like the government shuts it down, and he just goes ham on everyone.
That'd be a great backstory.
It would
movie.
be amazing. I hope, please, if somebody's listening, go make that movie.
That'd be more of like an anti-hero type movie, anyways. Like, there's some kind of
It's like the Joker.
Heroic
It'd be
in
Yeah,
that,
it would be
yeah.
like a Joker movie.
Yeah,
Well, and I mean,
I'd
you've
love
seen
to
how
see-
successful that is.
I'd love to see a Two-Face with John Hamm.
dude. Yeah, John Hamm as Two-Face. Please, please.
He's like the perfect actor for it.
I'd also love to see a Scarecrow standalone movie.
Scarecrow's
It could be like a horror movie.
I love
like
to see
he's
that
testing
too,
his
but I
stuff.
don't know who I'd want as Adam Driver. I think would be a really good Scarecrow. Actually, now that I think about it,
I think there's a couple people
Yeah.
who could play him. None that I can think of off the top of my head, but I think that would be a fantastic movie. Just start doing that, like a whole thing of villain movies after the success of Joker. Instead of doing a Joker 2, just go on and do these movies.
Especially because you can, if you did the villain movies, you can easily tie those villains into why they're in the Batman movies, instead of it being just like they show up all of a sudden.
Right.
They have their own standalone movie, and the character or the fans already have a hate or a liking for them, and so they're already emotionally invested into the movie before the villains even show their faces.
They'd also differentiate itself from Marvel too, because has
Yeah.
Marvel even done any like villain movies, or it's
No,
always
I
just
don't
like big
think so.
superhero movies? That would be cool.
I'm trying to think if they've done something like that. I can't think of anything. I mean, they are doing like a Loki series, but that's
Yeah.
about it. I mean,
I just feel like the Batman villains are just so. They're like just the best out of anyone in DC, out of anyone in Marvel. Like these villains are just
written really well.
Yes.
I love them a lot because they can all be, in my opinion, like a lot of them are semi like realistic. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I can envision somebody like that happening in real life. So it adds to the story, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like with Marvel, a lot of them are like these almost like godlike beings, but with like Batman and whatnot, they're just like people who have like a vendetta against society.
Well,
There's something more personable in that.
It comes down to like Batman's like he doesn't have any superpowers, so he can't like if he can't fight against like Thanos, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
Thanos is God. But when you have like Iron Man and Thor, who is literally God, then like you can have these godlike villains. So it makes more sense for like the Batman, especially. You have like more personable villains who are like more down to earth and like more human like.
Yeah, I mean, apart from like Superman, DC doesn't really have many godlike heroes, whereas Marvel you have.
I mean, Wonder Woman too.
Yeah, Wonder Woman.
Wonder
Martian
Woman and
Manhunter.
Superman.
Green Lantern's OP.
Okay.
Basically, I was wrong.
But like, well, okay, but no.
We're talking about
There-
Batman villains here. We're talking about Batman villains.
There's Batman. So like, he has his gadgets, and his whole thing is that he's rich and he's smart and he can build all this. But like, when you go to Marvel, Tony Stark's kind of the same, but then you also have Scarlet Witch, who is literally can do anything.
Magic, yeah.
Captain Marvel.
You have Thor, who's a god. Captain Marvel, who's for some reason a god, even though she only had one movie and they did horribly introducing her, but that's another time. And then you have Hulk, who can literally do whatever he wants. Thanos is the only villain really that could have done anything to them when they were all together. So it makes sense that Thanos was this godlike being, but you can't do that with Batman because he has no counter to it, because technology can only take him so far before a godlike being will just crush him.
And that's why a Justice League live action movie is going to be so hard to get right when the animated series did it right, because the animated series do everything right with DC. But you mix Batman and Superman, and it's like just this complete mix-up of worlds. Like Superman is supposed to be lighter, which was also messed up in the new movies. He's supposed to be like this light, hearted guy, and
He's like Macho Man.
yeah, and like he's more fun to watch. It's brighter. And Batman is just the complete opposite. Like, it's dark. He has this dark backstory. Everything about Gotham is dark. And so they're just completely different characters. So to blend them in the same movie and to have a villain that would be a threat to both of them is, like, impossible.
Yeah.
Like, what is Batman going to do against Darkseid? Throw a battering at him? Like, he's done.
Yeah, the Superman's sort of like the Injustice Supermans. You know, how he's, like, really evil or whatever.
Right, yeah.
I love that storyline, like about how he turns evil because, like, didn't the Joker kill Lois Lane or something? And
Yeah.
so he wants to kill all the criminals.
And that's another thing that I don't like about Zack Snyder is that he took, like, all these different Easter eggs from comic books and series and games and stuff and put them into one, but didn't finish them.
With no build-up. There was
With no build-up.
Like, you just... Kind of like what Marvel did with Captain Marvel. They didn't build her up or anything. They just gave her movie and made her some all-powerful being. And if you didn't read the comics, you don't understand why she's so easily able to do what she does. And so when you bring, like, the Injustice Superman, just plop him in to the DC universe with no context, then people are going to be like, why is Superman not good?
With no build-up and no resolution, like, no
Yeah.
explanation of it. It's just like, he's going to be bad now, but then later he's not going to be. And that just reminded me of Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, which I think is the worst casting choice of my entire lifetime.
I'm gonna defend Jesse Eisenberg, not as Luthor, but Jesse Eisenberg's like a decent actor, but only for like the role, like the character that he is.
Right.
And that character is not Lex Luthor at all.
Not even
So I don't
a
know
bit.
why they cast him.
That character is the nerdy, shy magician, and now you can see me.
Yeah.
That's the
That-
character
and-
he can play.
And
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg
Yeah,
and the
Mark
social network.
Zuckerberg.
That's like
Like
that.
that's-
It's like, okay, him versus Superman. What?
they
No,
need-
Classic
like
battle.
Bryan Cranston
Yeah,
was.
I loved Kevin Spacey before all the
Yes.
pedophile allegations came up, because then you can't just do that.
We can't
Yeah.
get so many
Oh,
more
like
from killing
anymore?
kids.
Yeah.
You can't. I like Giancarlo Esposito. I would love to see him as Lex. I think he would be really good.
I think Bryan Cranston would be a great
Bryan
one, but I
Cranston-
want him as Mr. Freeze.
Bryan Cranston's-
he'd be
yeah.
such a good Mr.
Dude, Bryan
Freeze.
Cranston's such a good actor. He could literally play any part
Yeah.
and be like amazing. Like that's how good he is.
He's a good person too. You can't help like
Like,
him.
Yeah, no,
He's a
Bryan
cool
he's
dude.
just- he's awesome.
He's amazing.
I love him.
I'd probably kiss him, but.
Oh,
Oh.
see, now you're
You
okay.
didn't say no homo.
Nothing wrong with that.
So now we can go on to the news about the new Superman movie, and everybody is. I've seen a lot of mixed emotions on this, but I'm super excited because I think it's important to explore different parts of the comic books and not just go back to the same Superman and have Clark Kent again and just completely redish and reserve the same person, and to do somebody from a different universe and a different Earth. Like Val-Zod, I think, is the one that they're hinting towards, which I would love. And Michael B. Jordan is heavily rumored to be playing him, and I think that is so important to not just keep doing Superman.
Yeah.
Like, do explore other things and introduce a whole new genre or generation to something new.
I think this is kind of like the James Bond, how they're going to do Idris Elba as James Bond, and they're kind of like...
Are they?
It's been rumored for a while, but like then they couldn't do anything, obviously, because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But a lot of people had mixed feelings on that, but like, I mean, if this character stays the same and they can do well with the character, who cares if they're black or white? I mean, I think it'll be cool to see a black Superman, not even just because it's a step forward, but it's a new story that we haven't heard, and it's not the same stuff we've heard for years and years.
Exactly.
Right, like this is a whole different Earth. Like this is a character, which I don't think a lot of people understand. It's not like they're just casting like a black guy to play Superman. Like, it's like, this is a character. This is a whole separate character. Like, he's from Earth 2. It's not Clark Kent. It's not going to be the Clark Kent story. It's going to be Val-Zod's story, and it's going to be cool and different. And I hope they go that direction. And I'll love it. I can't wait to see what that's about.
It's just a completely new story, but they're just kind of using the name Superman, that type of thing.
Well, it's sort of like the Spider-Verse.
It's
where
like,
it's like,
yeah.
there's
it's
multiple
like
superheroes.
it's like Peter Parker, and then there's Miles Morales. Like, there's
Yeah.
two different characters, but they're both Spider-Man. You know
It's
what I mean?
like different universes that they get into, and that's like something that happens deep in the comic books. Where there's like millions of universes with different Batmans and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's weird they
Jeez.
haven't done that already because all the Supermans have been the same over the past years, and it's good that they're finally changing it up. Like, they've been changing the Joker up, Batman's been changed up a lot of times. Every superhero you could think of, that they've been changed up mostly, but like when you think of Superman, I feel like he's just been the same like every time. It's just same Clark Kent, same every time.
Right.
We have to get pretty deep into your cinematic universe to go into different universes, you know?
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't just like be two movies and be like, okay, now we're ready.
Like,
Except if
Marvel
you're doing
is just
Spider-Man.
now
Yeah.
teasing the multiverse with WandaVision and then Doctor Strange.
Do you guys think
Yeah,
that the third
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man movie's doing multiverse stuff?
I don't think so. I think that was all rumors.
No. Well, I think that it's part of it. But I don't know if it's gonna be like all the Spider-Man come in
Well, 'cause
and that stuff. But they did say it was part of the multiverse story.
Yeah, I think we really see the multiverse in Doctor Strange, but I
Hence,
don't
it's
think.
titled The
well,
Multiverse
yeah,
of
I know,
Madness.
but I don't think we're going to see much of the multiverse in Spider-Man 3.
They confirmed that they casted the two villains from the old Spider-Man movies, and
Yeah, and there were rumors that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were, but they both shut those down.
well,
Yeah, but
they
I-
wouldn't.
did
They wouldn't.
No, but
they
did
wouldn't say
they?
it.
Did they shut him down, or did they indirectly say?
I know
like,
Tobey
oh,
Maguire definitely shut it down, and Andrew Garfield hasn't necessarily said anything about it, but he hasn't said he is.
I thought it was just Tom Holland who shut it down.
I thought that
Yeah.
was too. But Tom Holland didn't. He like indirectly said it. Like, he didn't say it was out
because
off the
they
table.
can't tell anything.
Exactly.
To Tom Holland.
Yeah,
Because
I-
Tom Holland will spoil it. He spoiled so much stuff.
I don't think Marvel wants them to know, because like it would be
Exactly.
so cool
Why
if you're
would-
going
why would
into
they?
the movies and like you just see freaking Tobey Maguire show out of nowhere.
Exactly,
People are gonna go
like, that'd
be
nuts.
sad,
So
yeah.
like,
Like,
if
you're not
you
gonna-
know now, then it's gonna be like, oh, there he
Like,
is.
you're
I was
not-
waiting for that.
You're not gonna reveal like an important detail of the story like in advance. Like, that would kill the
Doomsday.
excitement.
Shut
Yeah,
up.
that's
was
my point.
But like,
about
to
that.
me, I love the Tobey Maguire movies. Those are my favorite Marvel movies, almost my favorite superhero movies. So to me, if they said Tobey Maguire is going to be in the Spider-Man movie, I would see the movie like twice.
You'd probably have to wait
To be
until
honest with
after, just to see like, because like if they're not gonna say if he is or not. So like you'd have to like wait for other people to.
I
tell
mean,
you
it's
if
not
it
like
is.
Marvel has a shortage of money, so
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely would. I mean, if there's rumors, like I don't know why people, like, like,
Yeah.
unless there's like something behind it.
To be honest, I've never seen the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
They're so
Are
good.
you kidding me?
They're
so
so meme-worthy, brother.
They're not bad, but
I
I
haven't gotten the chance to watch
to
them.
say Tobey Maguire as a 25-year-old man playing a teenager is
It's
better
so
than
cheesy.
an actual teenager playing a teenager makes no sense to me,
All right,
and I
let
will
me-
never argue for
DJ's
Tobey
like, all right,
Maguire.
Pandora's box has been
Here we go.
opened.
Here we go.
He's like,
Let me go to work here.
Oh no.
First off-
DTF.
Yeah, down to the fight right here. We're gonna get handsy. Tobey Maguire.
Pause.
No. Okay.
Me and Mike
Okay.
looked at each other right there, like,
What's he doing?
No, okay. All right, you go and see the Tobey Maguire movies,
I will.
all three of them. I know everyone hates the third one.
The third
but
one's
the
not
third,
good.
the third one, it's fun. Like
That
you
the one
go,
with the
you
Sandman?
see those movies.
Third one's the one when he does the stupid dance too down the street. and,
Hey,
like,
that part's so
everybody-
How is
that's
that-
so funny.
The whole trilogy is like perfect. I know it's not completely comic accurate with like the web shooters and stuff. I get that, but it's pretty much like reading the comic book. They have every emotion. There's like the really sad parts where it's like Uncle Ben died and stuff like that, and they do such a good job of showing him as Peter Parker and showing him as Spider-Man. I think he does a perfect job at doing both of them, and I love Aunt May in it, and I love just the whole supporting cast was fantastic. William Dafoe.
I
is-
love Willem Dafoe. He's a
He's-
savage. He's the best
Willem
part
Dafoe.
of it. He is the best part of it.
Fantastic. But I love Tobey Maguire. I love I don't know, you watch all three of them and it's just like you feel a part of the universe. And I've never felt that watching any other superhero movie ever. Or it's just like you're in there with them and you like know these characters. And it's like right out you could be reading a comic book. It's like the same stuff. I think they're brilliant. I love the second one. I think they're the best superhero movies of all time.
I mean, I'm biased because Spider-Man's my favorite superhero of all time.
How is
And
it
I
not
think-
Batman? Can
My-
we get
my-
that
I
off
think
the table?
Spider-Man
What?
and
How-
Batman are the two most popular. I think most
Spider-Man,
people like
I
Spider-Man for
grew up
Marvel.
with
No, it's gotta be
Spider-Man
Superman.
wallpaper, Spider-Man sheets. Spider-Man's my favorite of all time. And I think to stay true to the comics, you have to have a teenager playing Spider-Man. Because in the comics, apart from like a few sub-series, Peter Parker's always been a teenager. So it makes no sense for somebody Tobey Maguire's age. I get it. He has a baby face and he can play the role. But Tom Holland is a teenager.
Not
He,
anymore, but when he got...
I mean,
He still looks
he's
like it.
young. Yeah, he's
he has
young
the youth,
enough
he has
that
the
he
youthful,
does.
he has the youthful energy.
And I'll give you that the two Spider-Man movies that have come out have failed to really be dark and bring you into that world. And I feel like they didn't talk about the Uncle Ben death enough in the two recent ones. But the first movie did have its moments where Spider-Man almost dies, but then, which is annoying, Iron Man comes to save him. That's what annoys me about it, is Iron Man just hands him everything. But I think this third one without Tony Stark, and now that people know his identity,
Yeah, because Mysterio,
So-
Mysterio exposed him.
so I think that this next one is going to be a darker film, and it's going to bring back what Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 from Sony brought, and I think it'll bring you into that world, and you'll feel in that world again.
At least they brought J.K. Simmons back for
Dude,
Jay.
I love it. Those
he's perfect for that role. He is so good.
you look up Ben, even you look up the clips of those of his
He's
moments from
perfect.
the trilogy.
I've seen those
Dude,
clips.
I cry every time he comes on.
He's
in
also
that.
the.
Wait, is this
him and
what's his name,
Willem
J.
Dafoe carry
Jameson or
it.
whatever?
Yeah, J. Jonah Jameson.
He's savage. Yeah.
He's like one of my favorite parts. Every part of that trilogy is perfect, and I don't understand when people say that they don't like it.
I don't dislike it. It's
Yeah.
just that from a fan of Spider-Man, looking at it, Spider-Man needs to be a teenager, I think, in my opinion.
I feel
Or
like
he's
there's a lot of.
gonna have the youthful,
Yeah,
youthful
exactly.
energy.
I think Tobey
Maguire-
Maguire has that. Like,
But towards the end,
Yeah, I
he
think
definitely
so.
did not. Because towards the end, you could definitely see he wasn't that age anymore. And even the way he was acting, it was like, you're not 18
but I mean,
anymore.
also, if you're doing a trilogy and you have somebody who's like on the brink of being a man from a teenager, like you just can't help it. I mean, he's gonna grow up like Tom Holland's growing up. I mean,
Yeah.
I felt bad for Andrew Garfield.
Yeah,
when he
Andrew
was Spider-Man.
Garfield was
he
just
honestly
not
was.
good.
I didn't think it was terrible because like I read a lot of stuff where like he loved Superman, like or not Superman, Spider-Man, and like that was his favorite hero as a kid. And he finally got the chance to play him, and like he didn't want to let the fans down or whatever. And I felt like he like if
It
given
wasn't
another
his
shot,
fault.
It wasn't his
Yeah.
fault.
It was,
Sony
like, the
sucks.
directors, yeah.
They were
Yeah, no,
terrible.
the
Yeah, but-
writing of the Amazing Spider-Man movies was so god-awful.
can we be
Are
honest?
those the ones that didn't do as popular though?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember like vaguely watching one. Was there like an Electric Man or something?
Yeah.
It was Jamie Foxx playing Flash.
Jamie Foxx and
Yeah,
Electro.
But let's be honest. What's his name?
Who?
The actor?
Andrew Garfield?
All right. Andrew Garfield is not a nerd. You look at him,
Yeah,
you're
oh,
like,
yeah,
he's
like a
that
jock.
too.
You're like, dude,
He's
this guy's a
not.
hunk.
Yeah,
he's not a nerd.
He's a skater dude, like
He's
pro
not-
dude. Like, yeah,
yeah.
okay.
He's not having problems in school, man.
Yeah.
He's good looking.
He is the bully.
Yeah, right. So it's like that was hard to believe for me. It's like Spider-Man's supposed to have all these hard times, and it's like, okay, no way Andrew Garfield's going through school and people
Yeah,
are saying,
exactly.
"Oh, you're a nerd."
I also don't like how in the new movies Flash Gordon is not Flash Gordon. It's a random kid who's also a nerd like Peter Parker and just bullies Peter Parker and has all his like friends
Doesn't
who
he-
jack him off.
doesn't
and,
he
like,
love
won't make
Spider-Man?
fun of him.
Yeah, he loves
He-
Spider-Man.
Yeah, but then
Spider-Man?
he also is in love with Spider-Man.
Like-
Like, it makes no sense.
But he doesn't know that he is Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, now he does.
Yeah.
So
But also with those movies, like when you watch the new Spider-Man movies, and I feel like any Marvel movie that has recently come out, it's like you just feel like it's part of like a TV show. Like all right, I know this isn't really about Spider-Man. I know this is about something bigger, and something bigger is going to be revealed through it. So it's like it's just kind of using Spider-Man as a pawn to get you there. And watching that, it's just like I'd rather them just do a separate trilogy, completely unaligned with everything that they're doing in the normal universe.
I get that, but I think that now that we're at the beginning of their build-up, movies aren't gonna
Yeah.
feel like the movies in between. Like, what was the movie? Like 3 movies before Infinity War.
I'm trying to think.
Like the 3 movies leading up to Infinity War.
I think no, it wasn't Thor.
all
Ragnarok.
felt like you knew
Black
that.
Panther.
No,
Yeah,
Black
yeah,
Panther.
Black
Black
Panther.
Panther was the first one. Then Thor Ragnarok was before that. I might have been. I want to say it was Civil War, but I don't remember.
Wasn't Captain America one of them?
I think
Captain
it
America
was.
Civil
It
War.
must have been Civil War.
I think it
then.
was
because when it
no,
gets
no,
to
no. I
that,
think it was Doctor Strange. I think it was Doctor
yeah, and then
Strange.
Doctor Strange. When you get to that point of movies, you realize you're like, all right, now they're building to something bigger. But at the beginning, when they were introducing characters and
Yeah, like the first
introducing
Iron Man and stuff.
storylines,
I'll look it up.
you're in Iron Man's universe. You're not in the Marvel universe. And so I think that now that we're at the beginning of them building up to wherever they're going to build up, I think that the movie is going to take a 180, and instead of just building up to Thanos or Spider-Man looking back at Thanos and like coming back from the snap, I think it'll still build to the big story, but that's not going to happen for 2 or 3 years now.
Well, yeah, because like Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man movie was like building up to Infinity War, because like it was like pretty soon.
Yeah.
It was after Civil War, and like it had to introduce him and like get him ready for the Avengers stuff. And then the second one was right after Endgame, so it had to explain all of that and
Yeah.
deal with the aftermath. So this one should be like since it's at the start of Phase 2. Now it's
Yeah.
like we're like separated from Phase 1. All that's done. And now they'll be able to like expand on Spider-Man and like
So-
focus just on him.
So 3 movies before Infinity War was Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Just
Oh yeah, that too, and that also.
How did they
was-
fit into the Marvel Cinematic Universe though? I thought they were like so like different from
Yeah, that's
basically
in space.
how they fit. Like they just happened to meet because Star-Lord's from Earth. Like Star-Lord.
Yeah.
They happened in Infinity War. They just happened to come across each other, like because basically, long story short, the Guardians were looking for Thanos, and then Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange are looking for Thanos. So they go to his home planet and they meet there, but they're like enemies at first,
Yeah,
and then they team up against Thanos.
and Gamora is also Thanos' daughter,
Yeah.
or
Kind of.
like
Like
stepdaughter,
stepdaughter.
yeah, like adopted daughter, because he.
He
destroyed
destroyed
her
just
home
ransacked
world.
He just
the
is like, yeah,
planet.
you're my daughter now.
Yeah, and
Come
he
with me.
distracted her and then kidnapped her basically and raised her as his own,
Yeah.
and then killed her to get the Soul Stone.
Yes.
Yes.
Soul Stone.
But
Dude,
now
spoilers.
she's back.
Very
Now
sadly
she's back because
Spoilers everywhere.
Again, if you haven't seen the
But
movie,
not, but now she's back because they went back in time and they brought her past self to the present.
yeah, so now they're
That
trying
sounds
to
so
confirm-
convoluted.
confirm
It
her.
is. It's
It's
very
a little
convoluted.
convoluted, but it's okay. It works.
Well, now both universes are gonna go into exploring different universes with the Flashpoint movie that's coming out.
Yeah, but isn't that like a standalone movie?
Well, it's I don't know. It's Warner Brothers and DC, so I'm sure they're gonna try to make it like several
I know, DC,
movies.
But like, I thought I read like the DCU is like basically like done.
They just gotta scrap everything and
Yeah,
restart
they
it.
gotta
Yeah, well, if the Snyder Cut makes enough money, there's going to be a Justice League 2, and there's going to be a Justice League 3.
It's gonna make money because of all the people who are like,
who are
the
crazy
Snyder cut,
for
the
it.
Snyder cut.
They're gonna make a Legion of Doom Justice League, and it's gonna be so bad. I'm calling it right now. They're gonna make a Legion of Doom.
Well, I am. All right. The only movie I'm pumped for is the Flashpoint movie that's connected to the DCEU because like the Batman movie's separate.
Yeah.
But the Flashpoint movie, we literally get to see Michael Keaton back as Batman, and like that's it. That's enough for me. And if they lead up to a Batman Beyond movie, I will cry in the movie theaters, tears of joy.
I'll bring you tissues.
And if we get to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan play Batman in another universe, I'll cry.
Is Batman Beyond the futuristic Batman with like
Yes.
the red?
Yes.
Where he's like younger.
Dude, that animated series.
That's a
my
godly
god.
animated
Is
series.
that where he's younger? Like he's like in his teens?
Yes, and then Bruce sits at the Batcave and like talks to him through his suit and stuff and like helps him through stuff. Oh my god, dude. You
think
go
I
see
remember-
the animated series of that.
I think, I remember
Yes.
watching those on like Cartoon Network. They
Yes.
would always be on.
Dude, I own the seasons on DVD. I own all of the Batman animated series on DVD. I'm literally, if you're looking to make a movie, just copy that, please. I mean, they're all perfect. But yeah, and if we get to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Lauren Cohan play Joker, that would be fantastic.
That would be really interesting.
I love to see a movie with what's the story where Batman becomes the Joker, where like the Joker.
Oh,
like,
right. Yeah, that's newer.
I love to see that. 'Cause I read that and it's really interesting.
I doubt they'll make it.
I doubt
Maybe
they will
down the
too,
line.
but I love to see that. I think it's not the Killing Joke. I know that.
No, it's like the
Is
man
it
who laughed.
The man
or
who
something.
laughs.
Yes.
And that just looks so cool to me. Like how the Joker basically like, I don't know if he like dies and then he has the gas and then it makes Batman become the Joker or something.
Yeah, I haven't read, but I've seen the figure.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really good. All right. Well, speaking of the Joker, I have a hot take I'm about to drop on everyone, and I don't think anyone's gonna like it.
Oh boy.
So I love The Dark Knight. Like, let's just get that out there. I love The Dark Knight. It's in my top 10 favorite movies. I still think the movie is extremely overrated, and I will say I think that Heath Ledger is overrated as a Joker. And I love Heath. I love Heath Ledger. I love him. I love the Joker. I love them together. I still think his take is overrated.
Who do you think's the best Joker?
I personally don't think there is a best Joker. I think that's the beauty of the character is that there are so many different takes, and there's not a wrong one. Even Jared Leto's take is not a wrong take. It's perfect for the Suicide Squad world because, well, nothing worked in that world, first off. But, like, it was just like he was scum, I don't know, whatever kind of gambler, whatever kind of thing he was doing. I don't even know what he was doing.
They tried to put a modern, like...
Yeah, and it was horrible. The whole movie was horrible, but it worked for the character. Like, there's not a bad Joker, and
captures him the
animated
best, though?
or
who gets like the most of him right? If you had to pick one.
I couldn't pick one because there's nothing
Ledger.
to get right.
I disagree with your take because I don't think the movie's overrated at all because it's... Like, what do you think is overrated about it? Let me ask you that question.
Well, I think there are people who don't get it. I mean, it has a 9 out of 10 rating on IMDb. First off, I don't think it's that great. It's like 3 hours. It's good. I mean, it's a good movie, but it doesn't line up in like the top 5 movies of all time. It just doesn't. It's a superhero movie, and yes, it's deeper. It's a lot deeper, but it doesn't line up with that. And it doesn't fit everyone's perspective. Like if you're listing best superhero movies of all time, yeah, sure, put it at number 1, but it's not for best movies of all time. It doesn't feel right in there. And Heath Ledger, I loved it, but and this is controversial. And I'm sorry, I love Heath Ledger more than anything, and I wish he was still alive. But because he died, that movie's popularity soared.
Yeah,
I think,
will agree with that. I still think he was excellent.
I think he was a very good
I don't
Joker,
think he's overrated because he's rated, I think, fairly as he was really good. I think everybody knows he was excellent, and that's what everybody rates him as, an excellent performance. I don't think you can be overrated when everybody says, you're excellent. Like, because everybody says the same thing. I don't know if it's necessarily... But that's just my opinion. I can see why you think it was overrated, but I just don't, I don't see it because he was so good, I guess. I don't know. It's one thing if, like, he wasn't, like, as good as it was. Like, it's one thing to say, like, oh, Jared Leto's overrated. It's like, no, he's not. He sucks.
Yeah.
He sucks. Everybody thinks he sucks, but...
Which I will throw this out here. I think Jared Leto would be a good Joker if he had the right script and right circumstances. I think he's a good actor.
Exactly.
Just not good in that part.
He's a great.
I think
he's
if
a
he
great
had a
actor.
standalone movie, then that might be cool.
Not with Jared Leto.
I feel
He
like
did
if
pull
they
a lot
gave
of
him
pranks on the set, though.
Dude.
I heard he was a terrible person.
I
on
honestly
set.
like Suicide Squad. I'm gonna put that
Oh,
out there.
okay.
I liked it.
Dude,
That takes
just go back to
out.
not talking.
That
Go back to
takes
not
out.
talking.
I'm not gonna say like that was.
Watch it.
No,
They
but-
made a
You
movie.
probably watch it for Margot Robbie alone.
Yeah.
Who told you?
But I mean, with Heath Ledger, when people just outright say that Heath Ledger is the best Joker, it's like there's not. Heath, like, all right, so if you think he's the definitive Joker and he's the best Joker, then you could take him out and you could plug him into Batman 1989 and put him with Michael Keaton and put him in Tim Burton's world, and he can't. Like, that's the beauty of Joker. Like, you can interchange Batman because, I mean, Batman's pretty much the same character again and again and again. Superman, same thing. Even with villains, you could sort of switch them up and they have the same thing. But Joker is such a wild card in every movie he's in that it's like that's the beauty, that he can have these many different sides and many different takes and not one be right and not one be wrong. But it doesn't make Heath Ledger the best Joker because he's in a great
Are
film.
we talking about if he's the best Joker, or are we talking about if he's overrated? Because that's two different arguments.
I think his. All right, I love his performance in it, but I do think it's overrated because he died. Like, if he didn't die and they went on to make Dark Knight Rises and Joker was in that, which he was supposed to be, then I think people wouldn't care about Dark Knight as much.
You know, I
never
agree
thought of that,
because I feel like he is overrated, but since he's dead, people are scared to
Right.
talk about it and like say that he wasn't as good as he's as people make it out to be. Not saying, again, I like him as Joker, but I think people are scared to say, well, I think he was bad, because then you get called out for making or like saying somebody who's dead is bad at their job when, I mean, that's stupid.
Can I ask a question? And I don't mean any wrong about this. Like, I don't mean to be an ass or anything. But does anybody think about? Does anybody say he was bad? Like, I'm
No, I've never heard
genuinely
anyone.
asking. Like, does anybody say he was a bad? Because I can't think of one person to ever say Heath Ledger was bad. as
I'm
a
not
Joker.
saying no. That's
and
not.
I know
Ben,
that's not what
That's
you're
not
saying.
what I'm saying.
I know
I'm
that.
saying people don't want to call him bad because they don't want to get the backlash of, well, he's dead, so you can't say that.
I understand that, but I'm just saying from a.
Good night.
Okay.
Well, no, what he's saying is that
that
no
just-
one says he's bad because he wasn't bad.
Exactly my point. Exactly.
Yeah.
No one's scared to say he's bad because he wasn't bad. That's the whole thing. Is like everyone thinks he was good, so no one's afraid to say he was bad because it's not a controversial topic. It's not like, oh, he was kind of bad, but we're gonna say he's good. It was like, yeah, he's
Exactly.
good. Everyone liked it.
Right.
It was pretty unanimous.
No, I don't.
And like what
think
DJ
so.
said, it is hard to pick your favorite Joker who did the best because they all have such different stories and such different scripts
Yeah.
and such different plots to it. That's why you can't pick the best Joker because they're all so different in this in that sense.
Well, the Joker's so complex. I don't think you can get all the different sides into one character, anyways. So, I don't know, like the most recent Joker, whatever, they explore like a darker side. That has to do with more like mental illness
Mental
and whatnot.
health. Yeah.
The reason I think that Heath Ledger is the best Joker is because he's the only one that is a real criminal master. He can plan these extravagant crazy things, and I think that's what Joker is at the base. He's a criminal. He's a bad guy. He does evil things, and for Joaquin Phoenix, you're exploring the more mental side, but I couldn't see him orchestrating a giant bank heist or something or an
Yeah.
evil plan. And I get that that's really not what he's supposed to do, but when you're playing the Joker, you have to be an evil person, and you can make the argument that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker isn't evil. He's not a bad guy. He's just faced the bad circumstances, and he didn't even really do anything to start the finale where everyone revolts. He just inadvertently killed
Yeah.
people in self-defense, and people took it upon themselves to do those things. And he never really told them. He's not a crime lord. He's just a guy who happened to be the face of something bigger.
Yeah, I think they're honestly gonna try and go in a direction with Phoenix where instead of him being Heath Ledger's Joker, where he does plan all these heists, I think he'll be more of not a cult leader, but maybe a false idol that people look to as inspiration, and that's what causes the riots and violence in Gotham, rather than it being Joker himself planning all of it.
I think the movie the most recent movie, The Joker itself, though, wasn't really about the criminal. It was more like a backstory, like a origin story of the Joker, like an original take of how he came to be, and not necessarily like what he's doing like at the moment, like kind of the birth of.
Well, yeah, but like I don't see him like.
I don't see him either.
Yeah, like it could be the birth of him, but like. You know, you're not going to look at him being like, oh yeah, I can see him in a couple years turning into a crime lord, and that's something that like I want in the Joker. I want to see like the crime lord who like can fight Batman, who's like Batman's ultimate bane. He is like the ultimate villain to Batman, like this mastermind crazy person who will kill anyone in his path because he is evil. But like I don't see like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker doing that, and that's just because it's a different tone.
And what I think about the movie is, and why I love it so much, is that you could completely change the name of it to like The Laughing Guy or something, and it'd be like a completely different thing. But all the Easter eggs in there like make it a comic book movie, and the fact that it's called The Joker. But they took so many liberties because I mean Batman's the one who creates the Joker, and that's like what Heath Ledger's is. That's what Jack Nicholson's is. That's what the animated series is. Batman always creates the Joker, and that's why they have such an interesting back and forth. Because I mean Joker tells him that like I'm here because of you. If you weren't here, I wouldn't be here. And so I think this was just a completely different take on it, that it's like he's not supposed to go off and do that. He's just, this is who he is. I mean, this is just like if like we create the Joker, so like kind of like putting society in the place of like Batman, like no matter what, we're gonna create these people. And it's kind of the same with Heath. I mean, Heath's Joker, like everything that he went through, it's like he created that, and then Batman just kind of influenced him to put the makeup on and run loose like a clown. But like I don't know. That's why I love the movie so much, and it's because like it's such a different take on it, and it's not wrong. And that's again the beauty of the Joker. It's like you can have all these different takes, and not one of them's wrong because it's not like the Joker is this. Like you can't describe the Joker besides he's a clown. But besides that, it's just he's whatever the Joker is.
Yeah, and I mean I appreciate like the tone and stuff, and like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker's it's good, and you know, you get that mental side that like you wouldn't get in a normal comic movie. But just for like comic book Joker, I think that Heath is the best, just because he's pure evil, and like you don't really get that. And like with Jared Leto, obviously, like that's not a good Joker.
Stupid.
Well, I think if we're shooting comic book Joker, then I gotta go Jack Nicholson. Because it's just like
Yeah, no, Jack Nicholson is so over the top.
Oh yeah, but
he is.
And his makeup and his face.
Yeah,
I mean, they have the origin of
I
him going into the acid.
See Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Like
it's a fantastic movie.
He's great. I just can't see him.
He's like the cartoony.
Yeah.
He's cartoony, but like for like comic book like kill people evil, Heath.
I don't know. I still don't think
Heath is more of a terrorist. You know what I mean? Like I see Heath as like a terrorist that just does like random things, you know what I mean?
Just to be evil.
Just to do them. I don't see like, in my opinion, the Joker like plans things out.
Yeah.
Like kind of in advance. I don't like Heath's Joker is more spontaneous, I think, whereas the Joker in the comics is more like thoughtful and.
Well, you see in like the movies that he like plans stuff out, and he's got traps set and stuff. Like, and if he was spontaneous, I mean, he would just be like start shooting people or something. He wouldn't set up those traps.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's just so many different ways you can go with the Joker that I don't think there is a best one. And all Instagram comments, and I hate when the polls come out. Who's the best Joker? Who's the best Joker? It's always Heath every time. And it's like, you know, half the people have never touched or seen a comic book or have ever seen the animated series or have never, don't know the character Joker. They're just like, well, Heath Ledger's cool. He died during it, and it got a lot of success, so it's got to be him. It's like it doesn't have to be him though. Like the Joker's such a deep character that it goes beyond Heath and his take, and it's going to go on for hopefully many more years.
Do you think they could ever get like Mark Hamill to do a live action Joker?
He's too old.
Yeah, he's too old.
Unless
they did like some alternate universe or like
yes,
one of the ones
like
where he's really old.
That's why I love like this Flash movie and the stuff that they could do. They could have Kevin Conroy as an old Batman versus Mark Hamill as an old Joker.
I would love to see Mark, because Mark Hamill really is like he could be like the best Joker because he's just got the perfect voice.
Dude,
for him.
In the animated series, are you
he's
kidding
fantastic.
me? I love him.
He is the voice of
I
Joker.
would love to see Willem Dafoe, but as Joker, but he's too old. Like
I would love to see
him
Jake
younger.
Gyllenhaal.
I would love to see Jake Gyllenhaal as well. Jake Gyllenhaal would be excellent.
All right. Now we're going to go on to a different segment here, and this is when it's going to get heated. This is called On the Fence. So we're going to go around and say what positions we are. The main topic of this, though, is DC versus Marvel. So I'm DJ, and I'm for DC.
I'm AJ. I'm for Marvel.
I'm Ben. I'm for Marvel.
I'm Callum, and I'm for Marvel.
I'm Rob. I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning towards Marvel.
I'm Mike, and I'm on the fence.
I'm Ryan, and I'm on the fence.
So the point of this, we're going to have different categories, but the point of this is to get the people on the fence to your side. So we just got to argue it out and really just try to convince them. So the first topic we have is who has the better heroes. You guys can start. And you can say DC has better heroes or say Marvel has better heroes, but I mean, you're not going to pull them off the fence if you continually say DC is
very
better.
lopsided. It's a 3v1 right now.
Well, yeah, but it's only about who gets 2 of the 3, right? Best of 3.
Right.
All right, so who wants to take this one on first?
Why don't you, Ben?
Well, I think that Marvel would have the better heroes just because they have more diversity, and you can see through the Marvel movies that like they're more personable, whereas like Wonder Woman and Aquaman and stuff like you're not really watching you're not really watching the DC movies for like, especially for the DC universe. You're not watching them for like the superheroes. Like Batman's always the same, and Batman's cool, but like and Superman and stuff, but like you get so much more like personality with like Thor. Who like goes on Thor Ragnarok and he goes on these quests and stuff, and like Star-Lord, and you got Gamora and Tony Stark, who's obviously so iconic. Spider-Man, everyone loves. You just have so many iconic heroes, and like the Marvel universe has like done such a good job of like making like smaller heroes like bigger, like Ant-Man and stuff, and like all these lesser known heroes that like no one cared about 20 years ago. Now they're like popular to like kids now. They're their favorite hero.
Winter Soldier and Falcon
are exactly
now going to be like a focal point of the Marvel universe, whereas in DC you wouldn't really see that because I'm in the middle of talking. It's Batman.
They're already
and
turning on each other.
Superman.
This is easy.
Guys, stay together.
I always was amazed at how they made, like how Iron Man in the comics was not a very popular hero. But then, like, Marvel just made it, like, in the movies, they just made him, like, the focal point of the comic,
the whole universe.
Just, with Robert Downey Jr. and
He was a great casting.
Great casting. I just love how they made, like, that lesser-known guy just become the focal point.
Just all their heroes. I mean, they did such a good job, and you could, like, credit that to like directing and stuff, that like they're able to translate them so well to the screen. But I mean, regardless, they made the heroes like new, like even with the lightheartedness of like Thor and stuff, because like the first couple of Thor movies sucked. Everyone hated them. He was a terrible character.
Awful until Ragnarok.
But they fixed them.
Before like Civil War, like Marvel was not as good. Like Avengers Endgame, like all those movies, they were not. You had the occasional gems, like Captain America: Winter Soldier was an excellent movie.
Yeah. The original Iron Man was really good.
Original Iron Man was good. I like the original Avengers was good. Avengers Endgame I thought was not good.
Yeah, Avengers Endgame, I think the reason is because it was so much leading up to it, and then they made it too long of a movie.
Yeah,
it could have been like 2 hours, and they made it 3.5 hours almost.
Jeez.
It was Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon is a terrible director.
But that's getting away from
the heroes.
That is getting away.
I think Marvel has better heroes because of what Callum said. Just the diversity of Marvel heroes is so broad that like there's a hero for everybody. Like if you're not really into like the super big like powers or something like that, like Spider-Man doesn't have many powers, but like he's just like a normal kid who happens to get bitten by a spider. I mean,
you look at like Black Panther and stuff. That now he's like one of like the most popular heroes, and like that wasn't the case like a couple years ago. And same with like just so many other heroes that like they brought up and they popularized, and now like there's a cast of characters that you can choose from.
Like Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch.
And now she has her entire new TV show, and she's one of the focal points again.
Yep.
Vision,
All right, I got a question. This is kind of off topic, but with Chadwick Boseman, you think he'll end up like Heath Ledger since they're both dead?
I don't know.
Yes, I do. I think he will end up. I don't think they're going to cast another Black Panther.
I think if they do anything with Black Panther, what they're gonna do, or no, they can't because Michael B. Jordan died at the end of Black Panther, so I don't know what they do.
Well, Black Panther is like he's the person that wears the armor.
Yeah.
He's the king of Wakanda. So like Chadwick
Whoever
Boseman can
becomes
die.
king
Yeah,
becomes
he could
Black
die
Panther.
in universe, and there could be a new Black Panther.
Yeah.
But like they're not gonna pretend like
no, I think
there's a
they're
new
gonna,
actor.
They're gonna cast his sister. They're gonna make his sister the Black Panther because in the comics that actually happens where
Yeah.
he dies and she takes over the mantle.
All right, back on track. Heroes. I'll take my turn. Okay, heroes. When you think of heroes, tell me you don't think of like the big, strong dude with the curl in his hair and just this buff dude. Who is that? That's Superman. That's Superman. That's who you think of right away. And I mean, that's what a whole generation of people think of. Whether we're born in the 60s or 50s or whatever. I mean, when he created, and there's that comic book picture of him holding the car up and the baby coming from Krypton, like that is heroes. That's what opens you up to everything. Like that. First off, let me just say this to end the entire argument before it even starts. DC was created before Marvel. So let's just get that out of the way.
How does that end the argument?
Okay.
Because it was
I did not
made
interrupt
It's
you.
not our fault. It's not
I did
our
not
fault,
interrupt
dude.
you. That's enough. All right, and then you just think of the trilogy. Who is everybody's favorite superhero, for the most part, besides AJ? Batman. I mean, literally everybody loves Batman because it's just like this guy's just a dude. He's a dude that just, I mean, rich, but he goes out there and he has trauma and it's relatable, and he just goes out and kicks butt, and he has like the best villains ever. And then there's Wonder Woman. It's like this whole generation of women had this superwoman to look up to, and like it inspired so many people. So I think that trilogy is like the best. That trinity of people, the holy trinity of DC, is like the greatest thing ever. Not to even introduce Flash, Green Lantern, who are just brilliant characters and have this whole thing on their own. It's like boom, you have the Justice League, and they're already more popular, more recognizable than anybody that the Avengers could ever add or have ever had in the comics. Yeah.
All right. I also want to make a point because like I don't really watch superhero movies anymore, but I kind of agree with like Callum. Like I could probably name a lot more Marvel superheroes than I can DC. Like those 5 that you mentioned, I can name them, but I don't think I know anyone else.
Yeah,
That's what it
the
boils
opposite
down
of you.
to.
There's
No,
5
I
or
mean, this-
6
but this-
DC heroes that are
And-
very popular, and then there's
But this argument
10,
isn't
20,
about
30.
what you know from the movies. This is about heroes. When
Yeah.
you think heroes, who do you think of? You're not going to think Iron Man right away. You're
I'll
going to
give you-
think Superman.
I'll give you like Superman and Batman are like very iconic, but like
Wonder Woman.
yeah, Wonder Woman too.
Yeah,
but
that's
like
right.
that's 3. But like you got Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow.
You can't even pretend to say this is how it goes. It goes. You can rank Superman number 1, Batman number 2, maybe Spider-Man, then
No,
Wonder
Superman,
Woman,
no.
and that's like the all-time. That's what you think of. Spider-Man is the only one. You don't think Iron Man.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe the next generation of kids after seeing these movies will think Iron Man, but for however many years since they've been out, that's how it's been.
Well, yeah, that's how it's been. But now with like the movies, obviously, like they're gonna be more iconic.
Future is now, man.
Yeah, but I mean, if
Yeah,
you
like right now,
But-
right now, if you like,
but it's
ask
not
people,
even
they're gonna
about
name Marvel movies.
It's not even about the movies. It's about the characters.
Yeah,
It's about
and the movies made the
Stone Cold
characters.
characters.
The movies
No,
made the
comic books
characters.
made
Hold
the
on.
characters that the movies took, that Disney completely exposed and completely destroyed.
But DJ, you have to think kids our age they had Dark Knight and then what? Justice League and barely Justice League. And then we had Iron Man 2,
Captain
3,
America,
Captain America, Thor,
Hulk.
Avengers.
Yeah, but you're completely leaving out the comics, which is where the heroes are from,
Right, well,
which
but
is
like-
why the heroes are a
But
thing,
kids
which
don't
is why
read
they're on the
comics
screen.
anymore,
Yes,
DJ.
But I'm just talking about now. Anybody who's alive at this moment, you ask them on the streets, what do you think of when you think hero? They're gonna say Superman. They're gonna say Batman. They're gonna say Wonder Woman. Then maybe,
If
you
you-
know
oh,
what,
I don't-
Spider
I don't know
Man.
about that.
If you ask them to
I-
like name as many Marvel characters and then as many DCs, they're gonna name more Marvel characters just because
100%.
the movies. And it doesn't matter about the movies. I get that like it's not about the movies because the comic books came first, but the movies did such a good job of like taking the characters from the comic books and turning them into like
Entertainment.
and like characters that everyone can recognize. Like Thor is one of the most popular characters now because what they did in the movies and how they changed him and like made him a better character. And like so many people can like recognize that with like Captain America and all these characters just because the movies did that job. And that's what's exposing it to like all this audience. And like obviously the comic books came first, but like more people are gonna watch a movie than are gonna read a comic book.
I don't think it matters how many people you can name, though. I feel like it's like the quality of
It's
the
like
superhero.
It's like the
But like,
yeah,
even
exactly.
like Batman, DJ said earlier, Batman's the same character. He's rich, his parents died, and now he just fights
Spider-Man's
crime.
the same
Everybody's so
character.
fleshed out though. That's why
I'm
they
talking-
don't want to change him.
When I say that, I say that for every hero. Superman will always be the same as long as it's Clark Kent. He will always have the same origin story, unless somebody does something different, and that would just piss a whole ton of people off because it's like, that's not the comics. Clark Kent will always be the same. Bruce Wayne will always be the same. Peter Parker, always the same. Tony Stark, always the same. The heroes will always be the same. And so, like, yeah, throughout that, yeah. But, like, Batman, I take over any Marvel hero's backstory, origin, present story, wherever they are in the comics, wherever they are in the movies. I take Batman's story. It's just more interesting to me. And so, like, Batman is a person that you can look to if you like dark, gothic stuff. So it's like there's something for everyone. And Superman is just like that's what I want to be. Like, I want to be that buff guy flying, saving the people, and like just everyone's like, oh my god, that guy's cool. That's what I want to be. So you like look up to these people, and everyone has been looking up to them. I just think they have better quality heroes with better stories and diverse, like you said. I mean, how diverse is DC? Like, you just look at the Green Lantern stories, and they have like someone of every color, every race, every whatever represented, and I think that is so important to see. Same with Wonder Woman. So, heroes. All right, heroes is over. Should we take their votes for heroes now, or should we take their votes at the end?
Probably at the end.
All right. Now we're going on to villains. You guys start villains.
Personally, I'm gonna just start. Other than Thanos, I don't think any of the Marvel villains.
No, you see, I'm gonna
held
say
up
this.
to DC.
Villain, no, you can't rank them. You can't say the villains are. I'm gonna be honest. You can't say the villains in Marvel are better.
Except for Thanos.
Except
Thanos
for,
is like the only.
Thanos is the only. No, Thanos is the only one who holds a threat against.
And I
any
mean, that's
DC
what's
villain.
what's important about making a good villain. Because if he doesn't have a threat, then like there's no point in the villain.
Exactly, but all the Marvel villains are like the same characters, just fleshed out. Like I remember I watched Thor: The Dark World, which is the second one. The villain is the most cliche villain ever. It's like, I'm gonna kill everybody. I'm ancient being, whatever. I'm like, dude, get the hell out of here. You're the same guy fleshed out in so many other movies. It's like, I can't. What am I supposed to say? Comparing to like Joker, Two-Face.
Exactly.
Like,
Spider-Man
all
has
these
good villains,
movies.
though.
Spider-Man has
Good villains.
Yes.
They're like the only villains that can
Yeah.
really compete.
Like
But,
the
like-
Sinister Six.
Yes.
That's one of the best comic lines.
Like,
of all time.
I like Mysterio. I think is cool.
Mysterio is cool.
Mysterio's cool.
Rey Mysterio.
But like,
Green Goblin.
But like people like Loki's a good villain. I will say that. I'm not gonna say like every Marvel villain's bad, but they do not hold up to the
Yeah,
DC.
well, and you have to look at it for the Marvel movies too. Like they're big like action movies, you know. For like Avengers, you're just gonna get some random villain that like no one cares about that they fight at the end. He serves no purpose to like really the bigger picture because like it's just it's a summer blockbuster.
They just have to have a bad guy.
Yeah, you just
so.
need a bad guy for like something like that. And I mean, obviously, it's not gonna be like the best like character development. But like you look at Black Panther's villain. Michael B. Jordan did a good job as
He was
Killmonger.
a great Killmonger, you know, but it's just the villains don't hold up. to
Thanos is probably the best, and then like the Spider-Man villains are like the most iconic. Doctor Octopus is a goat.
Yeah,
There's
that guy.
occasional good ones, like I like Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom's yeah.
Fantastic Four is
I
very
like
underrated.
Ultron, but they did terrible Ultron.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
Ultron was killed the minute they
Yeah, Ultron was a
incepted
terrible
him.
portrayal.
Red Skull's kind of cool.
I like Red Skull.
Yeah, Red Skull's Hydra as a whole is pretty good actually because that's always there. and
Like
you
Winter
don't
Soldier is
know
a
if
cool
they're
villain.
there. Yeah, Winter Soldier is a cool villain, and then they turned him, but that's what happens anyways. So, I think probably if I'm ranking the Marvel villains, it's probably Thanos, Spider-Man villains, and then probably just Hydra as a whole, just because Hydra's always lurking in the shadows.
Yeah,
And
like
they're just there waiting.
like all the Iron Man villains are terrible.
Yeah.
Like they're so bad.
I didn't can't remember any of the Iron Man villains.
I think it was
I've
like
seen like
his-
the first two movies.
His colleague
It
was,
was
the
like
first
his mentor,
one,
like mentor. Then there was some Russian dude.
and then it was
was
supposed to be
some fire
Aldrich
guy.
Killian,
Yeah, some fire guy.
but
I'm like,
then it ended up just being an actor, and like they didn't.
no,
actually
it was
do-
Killian.
Or well, yeah, that
The
was
Mandarin-
Killian,
no,
but
the
the
Ma-
Mandarin
yeah.
was supposed to be Killian because that's the Killian that's accurate to the comics. And then they're like, oh no, that's just an actor. The actual
then
guy
the
is
guy's
some
like,
random guy.
Then
in
the
a
guy's like,
suit,
I'm Mandarin, and then he dies. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, get.
All right,
He's
well,
terrible.
I mean, I don't really have to say anything. DC villains are just better.
Yeah.
Let's just get that out on the table. DC villains are 100 times better. Now, the last one we have here, movies. You guys start.
I don't think there's any I don't think there's any question that the Marvel movies are better.
I'll give you that the DC universe has the Batman trilogy, the like
Joker or stuff like that. But
yeah, Batman trilogy and Joker.
You can't compete with Marvel movies. You can't. There's no competition.
For pure entertainment and like for people who don't read the comic books and just like it gives you like here's a movie about this superhero, here's what they do, here's like an entertaining 90 minutes. That's the Marvel movies. They're summer blockbusters. They're fun. They're always gonna have like lighthearted dialogue and like good characters and stuff. And you're gonna have like the action scenes from a comic book movie. But I mean, they're consistent and like with every character, you're gonna get a good movie. And just overall, I mean, like you look at freaking Batman versus Superman and like the Justice League and stuff, and like compared to Avengers, like there's no competition.
See, and then also along with like the summer blockbusters, you have movies that are just in general good movies, like Infinity War, Endgame. I personally think Thor Ragnarok was just a genuinely good movie.
Yeah,
it was a good
Captain
movie.
America: Civil War, genuinely good movie in my opinion. Winter Soldier, a pretty good movie. Black Panther, I'm not a huge fan of Black Panther, but
Overrated.
I thought it was an
It was a
okay
good
movie.
It was good.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's how I feel about it. I take quantity over quality any day. Or okay.
Oh,
Never mind. Okay.
You're done.
No. I take it back. Okay.
You're all done.
I take quality over quantity any day. In DC, top to bottom has better quality movies.
How?
Let me just throw out a statistic
Please
for
explain
you
how.
that hopefully will blow your mind. Since 2000, all right, that was what,
This dude
21.
came prepared for the.
He's got his notes.
So that was what, 21 years ago. 21 years ago. All right, that's a long time ago. There's been 73 comic book movies come out that have either been DC or Marvel. 54 of those movies were Marvel movies.
Okay.
Tell me how that. Okay, you don't even have that many original ideas for movies. How a franchise should not have that many movies. Yes, some are Sony, some are Disney, whatever. But my point with the Marvel movies is you watch them and it's the same thing regurgitated 100 times.
I just want to say about 20-30 minutes ago, DJ said that the original
I was gonna
Spider-Man trilogy is the best trilogy of all time.
Okay,
well,
I never said best trilogy.
So-
I said
Yes,
best.
you did.
I said best
Put that on
superhero
record.
movie.
did.
I
Put
said
that
best
on record.
superhero movie,
You
not
said
best trilogy.
Best trilogy.
Best
Put that on
superhero
record.
movie, not best
Okay, well,
trilogy.
we're talking about
Okay,
superhero movies.
well here's the thing.
aren't we?
Okay, yeah. All right.
I rest my case.
No, shut up. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the court, it's over.
So yeah, those 3 movies I think are brilliant. But you look at the rest, you look at all 54 other ones, you have like 100 X-Men movies. You have the whole
Okay,
MCU
The
franchise.
X-Men movies are terrible. I'm just gonna say that right now.
They're
The
not.
X-Men
No,
movies
there's
are
some
not.
gems in there. Like they're like, all right, that's pretty good. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, like after Avengers, I was like, oh, all right, it's still going. Like this is really still happening. And then what? 20 movies later, it's still happening. Like, can we just, if we just like look back and you look at all the movies and you actually think about it, it's like, okay, I saw this before. Oh, this is the 3rd Thor movie. It's the same as the 2nd. It's the same as the 1st. Iron
No,
Man
the
again.
Third movie, the third movie was completely different
Completely
from
different.
Thor 1 and Thor 2.
Yeah, but it's like the same thing over and over again. Like, can we stop with this? Like, why are you completely saturating the market and ruining superhero movies?
If DC would have like had success with their DC universe, they would have done the same thing. They would have made movie after movie. There would have been like 3 Justice League movies. There would have been tons of Batman
Exactly, but
universes. It's just because of their failures that they weren't able to do
And it's
that.
also because of their failures, they don't have as many movies as Marvel.
Exactly.
So I would be arguing the other direction. It's like when you completely oversaturate the market, it's like then I don't want to see another superhero movie for as long as I live. Like 73 movies in 21 years that are all superhero themes. I'm over it. Like it's too much. But 54 of those being Marvel. That's just completely saturating the market. And then 19 of those are DC. And if you just boil it down, yeah, okay, DCU horrible. The Green Lantern movie not great.
I forgot that existed.
I do think if the Green Lantern movie came out when the Spider-Man trilogy came out, it would be higher rated. But you have the Dark Knight trilogy. With 2 of those movies are in the IMDb top 100. Are in like
and I'll give you
everyone's
that,
list.
that those 2 are like great, but like other than that,
I'll take quality over quantity any day.
Those are 2 compared to like
Joker.
you have the 2 Dark Knight movies and then the Joker. But like you got the Spider-Man trilogy, which of course is like one of the most iconic trilogies.
All right, I'll say Spider-Man trilogy is the best. That's number 1. But the rest is
if the
all just
Spar-
regurgitated junk.
If the Spider-Man movie trilogy is better than the Dark Knight trilogy, that's half your
Also,
movies.
if you say all three Spider-Man movies are like you said the same amount of movies right there because you said 3 movies in the DC are top quality. The Spider-Man movies by themselves are 3, so top quality, top quality. That alone is equal.
No, but I'm saying when you have 54 movies and you have 3 great ones in there, like what is that? What does that even out to?
It's not just
yeah,
three
the other ones
movies.
are good. They're good movies. They're entertaining movies. But you have to see all other 30 movies for that one movie to make any
That's not true.
motion
though.
to you. Yes, it is.
There's like
It's
2
not.
parts of like each movie that like involves it. You can watch
So-
Black Panther and like you don't really need to know anything.
Yeah, but I'm
about
talking
anything
Endgame.
else. Well, yeah, obviously
and-
Endgame, but
and-
like everything else besides that, you don't
Well,
need to
obviously,
know.
you have to watch part 1 to watch part 2.
No,
of the
well,
movie.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like Infinity War and stuff like the big ones that they lead up to. You have to see all other 20 movies before you see that one, and it's like first off, I don't have the time to do that. I don't want to waste my life watching this many hours of movies that are okay. It's like you have to sit through okay movies to see a good one. It's like I don't want to do that.
Really, with Infinity War, the only movies you have to watch are the movies that are genuinely good movies. Like the only movies you have to watch is Civil War, Winter
You
Soldier,
basically
Black Panther.
just have to watch Civil War.
Guardians
Yeah,
of the
like,
Galaxy.
you know, Guardians
Yeah,
of
and
the
then what do I have to
Galaxy.
watch before I watch Civil War? Like you have to know these characters for it to
Both
make
of them.
sense.
You just have to watch both Avengers. That's really it.
Yeah,
Both
like, you
two.
don't have
Yeah, and then what do I have to watch both the Avengers?
Nothing.
I have to
That's
watch
it.
their stories. Yeah. All right. So I'm just gonna it's gonna be like what Justice League did, which you were all complaining about. Oh, you just toss these characters together. So it's
But
like
it
if they
works.
had their
But-
separate movies,
but-
I would have to watch them,
Okay.
watch Justice League, and continue on.
And maybe that
Okay.
would have made the movie better.
Okay,
right?
but I'm saying, that's still my point. Is you have to watch all 20 movies for one movie to make sense, and they're all okay movies that lead up to a good movie, and it's like that's a lot
But
for
they're there.
mediocre movies.
They're there.
Okay, but also, if we're including the X-Men movies in the Marvel, then you also have to look at both Deadpool movies.
Deadpool
which
movies
were
are
both
good.
great
Deadpool movies are very, very
Deadpool. All right, first off, I don't like Deadpool in the comics. I don't like Deadpool in any fashion.
A lot of people do though.
Yeah.
Okay,
so-
but I'm just
So,
saying.
like you're done.
I'm just saying, but okay. I just hate Deadpool. He's like not even on my radar. It's just like, it's not funny to me. None of that is cool or funny.
Your argument isn't validated. My mom loves Deadpool. That's
Yep,
it.
there we go.
No, but it's like
But-
DC just boom. It has these great, fantastic movies that are worthy. Yeah, 3. Okay, 3 movies that could be in the top. Joker's in the top 100. Let me just put that in there too. 3 movies that could be put in the top 100. That could be put in the top 20. If you really layer it down, there's not one single Marvel movie that I would put in the top 20 of movies of all time. Because there just isn't. It's like they're entertaining movies. You go and you turn your brain off and you watch and it's fine. But you go to a DC movie and it's like, oh my god, this is like Joker is like, oh my god, this is like Taxi Driver. This is like something that makes you think. This is something that could win an Oscar because it's a movie.
That's like
Yeah, but you're
once in 20
comparing-
years.
You're comparing 2 different types of movies, though.
Are you just gonna rewatch the same 3 movies? Like you
Yeah.
have so many options with Marvel that like all of them are good and all of them are
No, but
enjoyable.
I'm talking about
None of them are
I'm
like,
talking
bad.
about quality. It's like this movie is phenomenal. The Joker, a fantastic movie that is better than any Marvel movie that has ever been made.
But
Is that wrong?
That's your opinion.
I would rather have
Okay,
like,
well, this whole thing is our opinion.
I would
so.
rather have like 30 different movies that are all like really good and like that I can enjoy and watch, like and have diversity in choosing, than like have 3 like top tier movies that I have to watch over and over again because there's nothing else in the universe that I can watch. Because
Yeah, but no,
like,
I'm just saying.
Justice League and Batman vs Superman aren't good enough.
I'm just saying it's like you have 3 gold movies compared to like a bunch of silver movies. It's like, okay, yeah, you could have a crap load of silver, but it's like I'd rather have these 3 gold things that are better than all of them. Each of those 3 movies are better than any Marvel movie in the past 20 years.
It's been 10 years since the Dark Knight trilogy just came out, and that's like all you have. And then,
Joker.
and then Joker.
Yeah, okay, but I'm saying those 3 movies are better than any of the other 54 Marvel movies that have come out since.
But it's not
2000.
like the Marvel movies are bad; they're good.
They're
And
good.
So, like, those
They're
30
fine.
those 30 good movies should equal and be more than 3 like
No.
really good
Based on
movies.
value
No,
alone,
they're
they should be.
they're fine. They're all fine movies. They're all okay. Good. Go turn your brain off. Boom. Enjoy a quick CGI brawl of big men, and then it's like you go see the Joker. You're like,
Sounds
oh
like
my
my
god,
Saturday
this
night.
is something like beyond me. This is something that's real. This is something that's out there. You see Dark Knight. It's like, all right, I get a mix of fighting, and I get a mix of what Joker is, and it's like these are real films. You're comparing films to like jokes, like little joke movies.
But you say like the market gets oversaturated by them, but like every year they make more and more money. Like you're gonna get more and more popular.
Which is absurd because everyone's just piling money into it, and it's like these.
But that means people like it.
Yeah, I know. Well,
if they keep spending more money, if Endgame becomes like the highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah, but that's like a whole different conversation. Like that's Disney. That's Disney just completely. Like they're doing it with Star Wars too. It's like you're taking this one little thing and you're running with it as far as you possibly can, and they're not going to stop if they're making a penny profit on it. And that's just Disney, and they're always going to make a penny profit.
Movies suck, but like everything else about Star Wars is good, like Mandalorian and like all the TV shows and stuff.
Well, yeah, the what 20-something TV shows they just released. It's like they're completely beating a dead horse with everything. It's like I'm done with Star Wars. I was done with it. First off, Star Wars is the most overrated franchise of all time. Let's get that. Yeah, that's we'll keep that for another episode. But Disney's just gonna run with Marvel, and they're gonna keep saturating the market. And it's like I don't want to see a DC movie now. I don't want to see a Marvel movie. I'm done with superheroes.
But like,
because it's the same thing.
It boils down to it that like Marvel was successful. Marvel was successful with their expanded universe, and like if DC had a successful expanded universe, and they like built the characters, and Justice League was really successful because they had 5 movies before that, like that built like Batman and Wonder Woman and stuff. Then like Justice League would have been successful, and then the expanded universe could have continued. And like you would have had the same exact thing that Marvel's doing, where they're like, because it's a company, it's a corporation that wants to make money. And it would have been the same thing, and you wouldn't be complaining because it's DC.
No, I would be complaining because it's like I'm already over the DCEU. It is horrible. The quality is horrible. The amount of movies are just they're all horrible. So it's like I have no interest in the DCEU, but I have interest in the stuff that they're doing, like to the side of it. Like I think the Batman trilogy, the new one, I think that's gonna be fantastic. It's got a fantastic actor, fantastic director, fantastic writing. So I hope that those kind of level up, and that's what they worry about more. Is like, let's make these really good movies over here, and not just make a couple good ones that lead up to a better movie. It's like
that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to make like good movies that like they could string together so that they can make more money, but they failed.
I know, but I'm saying like, and then they realized, all right, this is what's going to make us more money. So they went and they did Joker, and that has connected to nothing. It's just a boom film. And then they're doing this Batman trilogy connected to nothing. It's not going to lead to Superman. It's not going to lead to a Dark Side brawl. It's just separate. And like I take that over 54 movies that are just okay.
This is Clash of the Titans right now.
But like,
it's Clash.
Okay, I think we're just gonna keep arguing in circles.
You're just gonna keep going.
Is it decision time?
Yeah,
I think it's
if the Snyder Cut was successful, though, like you said, they're probably going to make another.
They're going to make more,
and they're going to continue,
and it's going to be
the same thing.
And it's going to be horrible, and I'll have no interest in that. And then you can compare like, okay, they're just tossing stuff out there to make more money, but it's like they're still going to have those 3 golden children that are just fantastic movies, and will always be fantastic movies. Where it's like, go watch this series of 30 movies to make sense of 3 good ones. There's a couple bad ones, a couple good ones. It's like I'd rather just take those 3 that are fantastic movies. All right, decision time. We'll start with Rob.
Okay.
Well, we should go heroes, villains.
Okay, all right. So, Rob, who do you take for heroes?
Heroes, Marvel. Villains.
Oh my God.
Villains, DC, obviously. So when I watch movies, I'm more of like a DJ. You have to dig into it, not like look at all like the big pictures, like you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm gonna go DC here, actually. I think.
Yes, sir. That's Rob is DC.
For me, I think I like the heroes better for DC. I think just better names, better characters. I like the stories of them. Villains, obviously they clear the board. DC.
Yes, sir.
You already know. I haven't really seen enough of Marvel or DC movies to decide on that, but like from what I know from the heroes and the villains, then I just gotta go for DC.
That's a clean sweep for Mike. Ryan.
All right. I think for the heroes, I'll have to say DC. And also for the villains, I'll say DC. I'm not really too I just feel like there's more depth to them. I mean, I kind of just like them better. But for the movies, I probably have to go with Marvel, honestly, because I don't really agree with you. I haven't seen a lot of the Marvel movies, but you said there's only 3 good ones out of like how many they have, like 30 or whatever. I feel like there's got to be better ones. And I know from like DC right now, what they're doing isn't really all that great. But I do give credit to like The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. I like them a lot. But I don't know, I think Marvel, I feel like Marvel has found what works for them, and DC is still trying to figure out who they are. So.
All right, well, that means all 3 of them are now for DC. So you lose. You suck.
See, it's
Marvel
funny because
sucks.
when the next Marvel movie comes out, they're all going to be going to the Marvel movie.
I will
the DC
not. I will
movie.
not attend the Marvel
So
movie.
who's the real winner in
So
the end?
you're saying that nobody in this room is going to attend the Batman trilogy? Is that what you're
I'm saying
saying?
no one's going to
I'm
no one's
going
going to
there
watch the
first
next
day,
Snyder
bro.
cut.
Yeah, nobody. Oh, kiss Snyder cut.
Yeah, but
get
that's
it
the
out
next
here.
Bat-
But
that's
that's
the DC
that's
movie.
DCEU. You got to separate it from the DC. Like I separate Sony's Spider-Man to Disney's
All right.
Spider-Man.
We're done here with that.
All right, DC
No
won.
more.
Marvel sucks. You suck. That's all we got for this podcast. Like, subscribe, give us a
Comment.
follow on Instagram. See you
Appreciate
later.
you guys for listening.